At Censys, we are the authority for internet intelligence and insights. We continuously map the public internet and identify exposed infrastructure, services, and vulnerabilities so that security teams can identify and respond with confidence. Securonix's ThreatQuotient product suite enables organizations to aggregate, analyze, and act on threat intelligence, reducing complexity and improving decision-making by bringing together context from across the security stack. In this walkthrough from ThreatQuotient's Ed Young, you'll see how Censys and Securonix partner to bring external visibility directly into your threat intelligence and investigation workflows in 3 integrations that connect with Censys Attack Surface Management or the Censys Platform.
Hey everyone, my name is Ed Young with ThreatQuotient. I want to give you a brief demonstration of the integration between ThreatQuotient and Censys today. So ThreatQuotient brings all of the threat intel and security data in one place. It helps security teams by adding context and prioritization so that the teams know actually what matters and what to work on first. The result is a faster, more confident decision and better use of the tools that the teams are already using today. So if we go to our ThreatQuotient ecosystem or marketplace, it's home to over 470 security integrations with trusted vendors and partners in the security space. If we do a quick search for Censys, we can see 3 different integration points between ThreatQ and Censys. So our integration with the Censys ASM allows our customers to ingest data from the Attack Surface Management module, and that gives security teams the ability to correlate those risks, the instances with other threat intelligence data, and gain more comprehensive view, better organizational security posture about what's going on in their environment. The Censys operation is used to enrich indicators from the threat library while an analyst is doing an investigation. So if an analyst is reviewing a report or responding to an alert, ThreatQ can query Censys and retrieve any needed context to help prioritize the threat and any need for further action. And finally, the Censys action is part of our automation suite. It's an automated version of the enrichment operation that allows for a scheduled and repeatable search for when we're enriching a large number of indicators, or if we want to continuously monitor a set of indicators for the most up-to-date information. So if we jump into the ThreatQ platform, we're here in our threat library, and you can see that we have all of our different threat objects, located here, and inside of each of the objects are the different object types inside of it. So we have assets, adversaries, and we're going to focus on indicators. So if I were to go and filter on source in this particular example and choose the source, I'll choose my Censys ASM. You can see now that this is going to filter down to all of the assets that are being ingested from Censys. It's going to correlate that with the events as well as any vulnerabilities that are found. You can see additional context inside of each of these indicator objects. If we go in here and look, you can see that there's additional attributes as well as that's come in as part of this event that's located here. So again, if we go into our events, I'll close out of this pane. I'll go into a more recent event, and you'll see all this attribution as well as full description inside of the threat library so that we could see the actual alert inside of here. So this is a good way for our customers to be able to ingest that data from the from the Attack Surface Management module and be able to correlate that with additional threat intelligence products that they use today in their environment. If we go back to our threat library, and if I was to be investigating specific event or a report, I can go in and say, I can filter on specific keywords and I'll say, give me everything based on this event, but that has a relationship to a specific event type. So here's my Silver Fox targeting in my event type. I'm going to add that. It's going to filter down, and I'm going to get a list of indicators. These indicators reported by Alien Vault. And we've also saw that our security team inside of Securonix, our autonomous threat team, has also set some attributions and some sightings for this. But if I were to just take the first IP address as an example, I have some context that's been provided to me by Alien Vault, but I have the ability to run an operation. And when I choose an operation, I could submit this to Censys and go off and get any additional context that Censys knows about this specific indicator. I could choose to add specific attributes based on the results that have come back, and I could add those selected here. If I refresh, oh, I don't even have to refresh, and they're already in part of my record. So it helps me to go along and create additional context around any indicators that I'm trying to track during my investigation into that specific event. This is, again, the manual version that I was talking about, being able to drill down specifically into that indicator as an operation, get the additional context from Censys, and be able to add it directly into my threat library on top of the record that I have. For the automation piece, if we go back here, and now I'm going to filter again, just so that I could show you a specific example. I'm going to filter again on another relationship. And this time I'm going to filter on a relationship for a report. And this report is going to bring back 158 different indicators. So again, this is when we're looking at a larger context around indicators, or if I want to true up on a regularly scheduled basis, I can create this. So what I can do also is now I have this filtering capability. But what I did earlier is I created a data collection based on my filtering priorities. In this case, it was just about the relationship, but I could do anything here as far as date, timestamp. I could do it on scoring, or I could do it on sources. And I could really drill down and get to that smaller set of indicators and that smaller set of threat intelligence that I want to dig into. So I've created this data collection based on the filtering capabilities I was talking about. If I go to TDR Orchestrator, I have already a workflow that I ran earlier. If I open up that workflow, you can see that there's very simple automation capabilities inside of ThreatQ that get us directly to the source that we want. So I created my data collection. You can see here it's 158 indicators, just like I showed earlier on the threat library. I have controls over how often I want to run it. I can run it now manually. I can allow for data to be reprocessed. So I can choose how often I want to have this data reprocessed based on the schedule here. And then here's my enrichment capabilities. Here's all of the configuration and controls that the customer has for the Censys automation capabilities inside of TQO, and what type of data we want to pull back and how we want to have it run. You can see again earlier, I ran this earlier. So I have my enrichment capabilities, and I see that all of these indicators as well as attributes, vulnerabilities associated with it have been returned based on my automation search. If I go back into my threat library and I look at my data collection that I just showed you, and if I were to drill into an IP address, I can see all of the enrichment that's come back from Censys, all of the additional context that's been provided back to me in my threat library. The additional description shows me all the who is information, shows that it's associated with my report. And I also have a lot of, a lot of audit capability inside of here. So I can see all the different actions that were taken upon this particular record based on the workflow, based on the source, and when that happened. I also have an orchestrator tab here that shows that this was run through this particular workflow with this date and time. So inside of our threat library, inside of our integrations, we have, we have all these different capabilities for the customer to be able to get the additional data from Censys. You can see all of my sources now show that Censys has provided additional attribution for these particular indicators. It's run through the workflow, and I can get all the data that I need back into my threat library, enrich it with whatever sources I have additionally besides ThreatQ and Censys, and provide that back to my analyst. Thanks for the time, and please contact us for any additional information.